the sweet fragrance of that. And we pray that you'll help us to know next steps and how best to move forward a legacy of peace and reconciliation and looking to you to guide our lives. Yeah, we thank you that this technology is possible and we can do this. And we look forward to new chapters as we move forward. Through Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Man. So do unmute yourself and ask any questions. I'll just check the chat here. Okay.
I'm gone. Good to see you. It was awesome. Well done.
Okay. Well, it's been my pleasure. Any other questions? Do just speak up if there are questions or comments.
Zoom is still talking still.
Hello?
Should I just jump in for a minute?
Yeah, do. Sure. Just say your name, please.
So this is Helen Shaffron, Roger and Harriet's granddaughter. And I raised my hand earlier when you were speaking about the use of the home as a post office for a time, and also about the way that things were, that mail was looked through and not kept safe. And there are so many stories that came out about my grandfather that took on this sort of sacred lore sort of tone. And one of them was about how he mailed this. So this is the engagement ring. This is the ring that Roger gave Harriet, and how he mailed it to her in the Philippines, rolled up in a newspaper so that no one would know it was in there, and it would be able to be transported without suspicion or theft. So that's one of the favorite stories that I've heard told so many times. Another couple of just random things when you were talking about the quality of the water. My grandmother talked about how in the early days they had to boil all the water that they ever used. And it took so much time getting the water and then boiling it. I mean, think of all the planning that you have to do to acquire the water, transport it, and then boil it before you can do anything at home. There is a photo in the archives. I wasn't sure if you would be presenting today, and it wasn't among these, which is fine. But it shows how the olives are being cured or brined. And it says in my grandfather's writing, I believe, something about using the Graeber family recipe. So back in the San Gabriel Valley, right around the turn of the century into the 20th century, my my great grandfather, Julian Cumberland, who was the citrus farmer, he became friends with other farmers in the area. And one of them was Mr. Graeber, who farmed olives. And those families became friends. If you look up Graeber, Graber, it's a long-standing olive provider company, historic olive folks in the San Gabriel Valley in California for like 100 years. And one of the things that we always had at all of our family celebrations was Graeber olives. There had to be Graeber olives in a glass dish on the table at every holiday. And my mother, right up until the time she died, was still ordering them because they're not available all around the country. She was still ordering them mail order and having them sent to my house because I hosted all the family stuff before she died. So I still have a can. My husband, who is on right now, knows probably where it is. It's a treasure. I don't know if they're able to be acquired anymore, but it's just funny how these little precious things have gone through the generations. I would love to think that I wish they could know that so many years later, those olives are still a part of the family celebrations.
Mm.
The
Yeah, that's so
olives
precious.
in Middle East are a blessing.
Yeah.
The olive tree is a
Yes.
blessing to have in your home. And
Yes.
people try to at least grow one tree of olives in their house if they have the land and garden.
Mm. Yeah. And there are, I mean, there are olive trees sort of everywhere, but it seems to be a very, as you sort of indicated, Helen, something that kind of anyone can try, but only really skillful people can do well. And I remember going to the Thursday open bazaar in Hook and seeing the olives that have been brought from Bashiqa, which is a Shabak village um, town just outside Mosul, which is famous for its olives. And it might be to do with the soil, it might be partly to do with the skill of those tending the olive trees, but they were just known as really, really good olives. So I'm sure that something similar was going on in California with skilled people and the right soil for just the right kind of olives there. Um, there's, I mean, I've not been to California for years. I went there briefly as a teenager, but I'd love to visit and just see more of the landscape and learn more about the history of Southern California and to be able to see the ways in which it was like Kurdistan, because Roger really took what he knew from both his good education at Occidental College, but very hands-on. He did a year off between school and college to do a sort of a gap year on a farm, and so he must have learned a lot of skills then, besides seeing things from his father and others. So yeah, Roger very much wanted to see Kurdistan blossom like a rose in the same way that California saw tremendous growth, careful stewardship of water to boost the the industry of citrus fruits. Laverne, where Roger was born, still has its icon of oranges, even though I think that industry has sort of declined and been replaced, as I understand it, not least by the cinematographic industry down there in Southern California and Silicon Valley, of course. Any other questions or comments?
Dina Ismail. Uh, I just like remembered the way we were when we go in summer to Babylon and we sleep on the roof. The same way that the picture you showed, there's like some sticks. That's where it was like a little, like not a, what they call it. It's like a screen to protect from bugs when you're sleeping.
Net curtains.
Net curtains, yes. So that's normal. Yeah, my sister. So that's I remembered we used to sleep on the roof and the walls really are thick in Middle East, like in the old time, because it keep the house cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Now you go and see everything is getting narrow, narrow, narrow. Like when I came to America, it's like cardboard. So that's not real houses, but at that time they were like really building them thick to protect them from summer and winter. The other thing, what was it? The male, definitely that's Iraq and most of the Middle East countries, not because you're American or something else. Even me, I had problems when I was in Iraq. And I was just writing regular mail to my friends, my siblings. So everything was checked. And you will have problem for little word that they think it's not good. So many times, like my sisters used to live abroad, and they will send me pictures for their family, their kids, and sometimes we don't receive them because they enjoyed stealing.
So we used to number the letters.
then she will tell us that you receive it. So that's how, I mean, everyone, it's not but just Americans.
Yeah.
So the phones were tracked, everything.
Yeah.
What else? there was something in my mind today as I was reading in the Bible, and I came to the word in Esther 4, chapter 4 and verse 16, where it says, if I perish, I perish. So every missionary, every Christian who has been living there or in any of these Middle East countries, like they put their life in their hands. They never
Mm,
know if they will go back or not
mm,
to home,
yeah,
I mean, to their family.
yeah,
So, yeah, I remember that. And when I was reading, I remembered one of them, Roger Cumberland.
yeah. Thank you, Dina.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry.
I appreciate that this means so much to you. Believe me. I was going to say, I'm not sure how many people know this, but just a side comment, which is if anybody doesn't know or has wondered what happened with my grandmother, I mean, there's a whole story of her life, but she was widowed at just 16 days after her 34th birthday. She never loved anyone again after she loved my grandfather. She was a beautiful and brilliant woman and was involved in the community, was a teacher, obviously was a parent of my mom and my mom's big sister, Wendy. And people wanted to, ask her out on a date or get to know her in their church or in their church choir and volunteering and the other circles that she moved in. And she never had any interest. In
Mm,
fact, even in her last times of just writing her name, she would write Mrs. Roger C. Cumberland and then in parentheses, Harriet. That's how she wrote her name
mm.
till the end. So,
That's very touching, Helen. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remembered one thing else that is uh, the refrigerator we used to have at my grandfather house in Babylon was used by kerosene. You mentioned the stove. I'd never seen that stove, but I've seen the refrigerator. Probably Mr. Roger Cumberland brought it there. I don't know. Maybe when he was living in the second floor of the house. Uh, so, I mean, I've seen that refrigerator maybe last time in 2000. Then, like, I have been to Iraq many times, but I don't know if it's still working, if someone else have it. Maybe the person who is like now, uh, I don't know, taking the responsibility of the village.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, let's
there was that kind in the place that there was no electricity.
yeah. We can keep the conversation going about any items of museum value that could be returned to the house. Because even just printing some of the archive, materials like this, um, would make for good displays. And there are certain books, for instance, um, Roger and Harriet would have used a book that was published in 1922, I think, by Captain um, Friar Jardine. And I just, the internet is such a help with this that I was able to track down his grandsons who live quite near my parents in the south of England, and then to find out more of the story of um, this very gifted linguist who wrote a grammar of Badini Kurdish. It was published by the sort of government house in Baghdad, but Roger would have used that to learn Badini. It's part of the Cumberland archives as well as there's a copy of it online. But it's fascinating to see how Badini Kurdish was beginning to be written down in arguably imperfectly in Roman letters, and those were sort of pioneering things going on. So in language, education, medicine, engineering, architecture, these were huge times of growing pains, you could say, for for De Hook as it sort of entered into modern ways of living. So yeah, there are lots of ways in which we could make the Cumberland House an interesting insight into the history of De Hook in the interwar years, because there are some very keen local historians, but there's on the whole, Kurdistan is not as good as other countries at conserving and curating history. But those who do a good job there, they need all the encouragement that we can give them, and perhaps with the help of Robbie Ismail's family, the Cumberland family, and others, we can draw together what we can to present in a very vivid way the life of Roger and Harriet and Wendy and Janet, who were downstairs on the day that Roger was killed. So his memory very much lives on, Helen, and it's been my pleasure to take a deep dive inside these archive materials, and I've been tremendously inspired myself. So, any final comments before we? Nabil, it's a pleasure to have you chip in, please.
Thank you. You mentioned about the water. Mr. Cumberland is the first man who brought water to the Hook. As my mom, she said, he put a water pipe, to the mosque. So most of the people, they gone and collect water from the mosque. And she said also many of them, they come to their house, to his house, and collect water. So I think that tank you showed, it's it's in the house. So my mom, although she was 6 years old when her father and Mr. Cumberland killed, but she has very vivid memory about that, and she remember him very, very good. She remembered he used to go all around on his horse, and yeah, she also.
You mean on the rooftop? You mean he used to walk around? Is that what you mean, Nabil?
No, the horse.
Oh, he went out on horseback. Yes.
Yeah. So he used to go all around to visit some people, in the area. And yeah, she also remembered so many things. And when she came here to England, 2003, she wanted to make contact with the family of Mr. Cumberland. And I sent email to the Reformed Church. Is it Reformed Church or of?
Well, Roger and Harriet were with the Presbyterian Church,
Yeah.
USA. Yeah.
So they, replied to my email, and they said that we cannot give you any information unless you pay $15.
Oh, dear.
And yeah, and then when I told my mom, she said, "Oh, that's a bit, suspicious." So she didn't want. She said, "No, I don't." But she was anxious, to know about Mr. Cumberland's daughters because she remembered them very well. And yeah, and she just wanted to see, what's happened to them. And my mom died 10 years ago. She passed away. Yeah. So
Thank you, Nabil, for sharing that. We really, really appreciate that personal insight.
Can can I share this? What I have heard from the family, that Mr. Cumberland was so compassionate because the Assyrian had just come from Ba'quba, from the camps into the north, and they were very ill, getting typhoid and other diseases because the water was not clean. the same water of the river that they drank. Animals will be there, they will be washing there. And he looked and saw the disaster of illnesses, and so many died because of the infections. He decided to buy that spring and bring new life into Duhok.
Mm. Yeah, and he used the story of bringing in water as a parable of um his evangelistic work. He said we did not invent the water of life any more than we invented the spring of water. Um, and we don't force it down people's throats. Our job is to make the water available to people. And so it was a very touching parable of his work. You know, he was there to bring water, living water to people,
Yeah.
and he welcomed people into his home and shared the good news with people of all backgrounds, Assyrian, Armenian, Chaldean, Yazidi, um, Kurdish, Muslim, um, and it was for in that hope of the gospel that he was killed.
Jerry, in reference to the picture of the water tank, in one of the documents, I read that 4 such tanks were placed around Duhok so that the water from the spring was piped to these tanks, and it made it then possible for people, rather than going all the way down to the stream, to go to a neighborhood tank to get their water. And there were a few houses that were able to be plumbed directly, but the initial work was to take the water to these tanks, of which that was one picture.
The mosque was,
And the mosque, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So is this water tank behind the house?
I think so.
Yeah,
behind or on the street side?
yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
I thought it looks like on the street
And
side.
and really, I'm looking forward to a kind of a book being printed of all these photos and to be able to show it to different people and just see some of the details because you get the impression perhaps there was an animal stable of some sort behind where the lady is carrying the water jar. So there's all kinds of details there that you can try and tease out.
Yeah, because my mother, she said many people, they come to the house and collect water, but I can't remember she, mentioned a tank, but she said there was a pipes and yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean it was um, bit by bit because Roger was very proud of the shower that he set up under the staircase. Um, and he actually did that as a mercy towards your grandfather Nabil Musa because it was a lot of work for Musa to bring to bring water in for a bath, which was quite needed in the hot weather. So Roger plumbed in a shower under the stairs there. So this was, you know, a shower is hardly seen as cutting edge technology these days, but perhaps that was the first shower in the whole the
Yeah,
whole Duhok, town of Duhok.
my mom, she said he built a house for them in the same complex, and there was a water in that house. So
Yeah.
yeah, and she said my grandfather used and all around. So I don't know if my grandparents' house is there
Well,
still.
you see,
Part of it.
it's not 100% clear to me uh, which which was their house. I've imagined that it was well. So there's the photo, the best sort of photo we have of the whole complex. Um,
Yeah.
Greg, I mean, I kind of was wondering whether they lived. I mean, where was the living room with the beautiful fireplace?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's unclear to me. partly imagined that they lived in the house on the left.
She
Um,
said the house was, separate from Mr. Cumberland house, but it is in the same plot.
on the same plot, yeah.
Yeah. I think she mentioned it's about 2 bedrooms house. So
Yeah. I mean, he was clearly there to answer the door, particularly on June the 12th.
and when these guys come and killed him, my grandfather, he, heard this noise, and then he took his gun. He came out, and he saw these people are coming down, from the staircase. And one of them, they thought that he gonna shot them, but they killed him before that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he died. He didn't reach to the hospital. He died the way.
On the way, yeah.
Yeah, but
Do some of you know Evelyn George? We met with her in the Bay Area.
That was her picture of the house.
And we think that the house down at the end of the lane,
where I was standing.
Chris was in that picture, is one of the first pictures you showed, Jerry. We think that house maybe was where Evelyn George lived. And she was there the day
there.
That
is the house that there's a house just to the right of me. There's one house, and then the Cumberland house is the next house. And there at this point it's just a big open area. There could have been another house even beyond that in the parking area, what's now the parking area. But this was just around the bend from the Cumberland house.
But she was about 6, 7 years old at the time, and she was like a babysitter
she loved the kids,
Janet and for Wendy, and she was there the day that Roger was killed. And she was on the steps, or on the side of the steps, and vividly remembers their faces as they ran out of the house.
My mom has had a number of conversations with Evelyn, and I don't know if it was Bob Blinko that set the two of them, got the two of them in touch with one another. But my mom
did.
loved talking with Evelyn and said they had a number of lengthy conversations. And I always wanted to wish I'd been in on those. I don't know if Evelyn is still with us. She'd be quite old, because my mother alive would be turning 89.
We visited her 2 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago, and
she was totally clear thinking, and we had some good conversations. But she
was in her 90s.
I think she was in her 90s even then.
Yeah.
But where in California?
In the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area.
I wish I had her contact information.
I can get that to you. I don't. She's sometimes.
Helen, are you granddaughter to Mr. Cumberland, or a great granddaughter?
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
My mom is
Wendy.
It's Janet.
Right.
Wendy was her big sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Greg and Chris, are you familiar with the Hawk, or you go there, or?
We live there. We've been there 16 years now. We went in 2010, and we had the privilege of being there when Jerry and his family were there. And we are still there. We're just visiting Berlin right now. We had been in Berlin before we went to Iraq.
We were sent by the Presbyterian Church USA to Berlin initially to work among the Kurdish population here, and then in 2010 transferred to Iraq but we still maintain ties here in Berlin.
Right. So in Iraq, in Duhok itself.
Yes.
Yes, we live in Duhok.
Yeah. I'm from Basra, from south of Iraq.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Because after my grandfather killed, my grandmom take, my uncle and mom and my auntie to Mosul.
Yes.
And then they rented a small house there and they stayed in Mosul because they didn't want to stay in Duhok because they were afraid that they
Yes.
have some connection with Mr. Cumberland because they think it is a political assassination.
Yes.
So, yeah. And then they stayed a few years in Mosul until my great aunt, she living in Basra, and then she said to them, "Why you are there alone? So why you don't come here in Basra? Because there is some relatives there." And then they moved to Basra, and there where my father met my mother and got married.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and they found a job for my uncle, so to maintain the whole family, because my uncle
yes.
was 15 years old when they both killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My mother was the youngest one. She was 6 years old.
Mhm.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
and then they lived in Basra all their life. Yeah. And
Where was Musa buried?
yeah, that's my mom. She said both Mr. Cumberland and Musa, they said they said wherever we buried them, we want one beside the other.
Oh, yes.
So
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, so it's still maybe there.
We
Uh-huh.
we want
In
to
in
go and visit
what they call
the
it, the
graveyards.
Christian Berry Cemetery, the Christian cemetery.
Jerry's can speak.
Well,
There, yeah.
yeah, we haven't so far. I mean, I've never been to Mosul. It's been extremely dangerous there, as you know. Thankfully, it is a much more stable city now, and I would like to visit. Um, the cemetery is on the road to just off the road to Shingal on I think the west side of Mosul. I'm not entirely sure whether it's classed as the British military cemetery or the Christian cemetery. I'm not entirely sure, and there are some indications that gravestones have been kind of removed or piled
Yes.
up somewhere, and so
I'm not sure if they buried, one next to the other, but
yeah.
that's what,
So,
yeah.
so what,
My uncle and my aunt, they went in 19, I think, 80s or 70s, late 70s. They went there and they saw the area, but yeah, I don't know.
what looks to be the case now, we had someone go and try to find in Mosul where he was buried, and they were buried. And yeah, they were buried. And what we understand is that it was a British war cemetery, that now the pictures uh, look as if the walls around the cemetery have been rebuilt, probably since ISIS was the campaign to get
2014.
ISIS out of Mosul. But looking through the gate into the cemetery, it's there are no gravestones now. So it probably was desecrated and whether or not gravestones were collected somewhere.
We need to research.
Those things still need to be researched.
Yeah. That's very sad.
There is obviously the opportunity to create, if that's needed, to create a new gravestone, to sort of,
Yeah.
to rekindle the memorial to both
Yes.
Roger and Musa.
Definitely.
Definitely. That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good thought.
This is Sam Stair in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I'd like to both affirm the title, the book title, which you proposed, and also give a shout out to the Callisons, who we've known for many years. And you're right, this is a story that most people have not a clue. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Sam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for joining very much.
Yeah.
Well, should we wrap up there?
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah. Thank you, Jerry.
It really has been my pleasure, and particularly to be just bringing people together. This is only a fraction of the story, and there's details that I'm hesitant on, and things that I'm still learning. So, yeah, look forward to continuing the process.
Thanks a lot.
Dina Ismail, is it related to Rabbi Ismail?
Yeah, he's my grandfather. And even Norma, she was speaking before me, is my sister. So my father's name,
you
Albert.
and Norma are sister.
Yeah, and maybe I know Selma is your sister?
Sorry?
Or your cousin, Selma.
Selma. Oh, yes. Oh, you know Selma.
Yeah, because when we left Kirkuk, we went to Baghdad. She was with your mother there. So I know her a lot. Yeah, a long time. Then the war happened and everyone fled. So I didn't have news from her.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Yeah, from my grandfather family, only Uncle William is living.
Right.
Yeah, all the aunts and uncles and my father has passed away.
And you live in America?
Yeah, I mean, I'm planning to go back to Iraq. I have been there like maybe 6 times, but I want to live there now. So I was ready to go, but this war of Iran closed the airport, so I couldn't go.
It's not a good situation. I left 46 years ago and never gone back again.
Well, please know that we have guest rooms.
When I left,
and your name is on the door.
yeah, when I left Iraq, Saddam Hussein was in power. So I thought that the worst time Iraq is going through. But when I compared that time with this time now, that was the golden days of Iraq.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, I really want to go someday as soon as it's safe. So
thank you.
Somebody let me know.
Welcome to Babylon.
Yeah, there is a docudrama that is nearly finished about the life of Roger Cumberland, produced by a Kurdish director, and he's preparing to premiere that film sometime, as well as show it on a Kurdish TV channel. Yeah, that's going to be a big thing for the Kurdish people to be able to hear something in Kurdish that really brings to life the story from the 1920s and 30s. So Cambelan is very much part of the book.
They say Kemelan.
Cambelan.
Jeremy, thank you very much for this
Yeah,
gathering
absolutely.
was
Yeah.
very nice, interesting, and I learned many, many things more.
Well,
Thank you.
it's my pleasure. Yeah. Okay, well, good
Okay.
afternoon, good
Thank you.
night to
Thank
you in
you.
different time
Bye-bye.
Thank
zones.
you.
It's been a
Really,
pleasure talking with you all.
Thank you,
blessing.
Jeremy.
Thank you all.
God bless.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I'll say before we hang up, my grandmother loved the Kurdish people. She never had anything but wonderful things to say. And one of the things she would say to my late younger brother David and me when we would eat together, we were not very good eaters. We would sit there and play with our food, and we were both slender little kids and not very interested in eating. And she would say, "Bucho, bucho," like,
Oh,
"Hey, eat," like a command.
Yeah.
I still think of that. I never said it to my kids because they, it wouldn't mean much to them. But there's so many little bits of this life that have found their way into my life and memories, even though I lost my grandmother in 1980 when I was 14. And she was the only grandparent whose life overlapped mine. So she also had that special, she was kind of on a pedestal for being my only example of what a grandparent is. Um, Such a
yeah,
beautiful and loving person. So it's an
yeah.
honor to be here. I'm so thrilled. I can't wait to learn more. It's odd for me to have it be that so many people know more about my family than I do in a lot of ways because the storytellers are gone,
Yeah, sure, sure.
I
Yeah.
And
can't say enough.
whenever you
Okay.
visit Edinburgh, let us know and you come and stay with us.
It's a bit off the subject, and I never got to Duhok, at least never yet. But Chris and Greg were responsible for me starting to learn Kurdish in 2014.
Oh, neat.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And I did visit a village near Yuksakova where they spoke a dialect I couldn't understand. And I realized afterwards they speak Badini there.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, well, cheerio everyone, and just thank you for all the contributions. Norma, looking forward to seeing you before too long.
Yes, yes, love to see you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Cheerio then. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Be well.